So one thing that you may hear in the fragrance community is the term partial bottle. Now, I haven't really seen many people make a video on this type of thing, so I figured I would go ahead and give you my thoughts on buying partials or used fragrances. So if you're not familiar, a partial is basically a fragrance that isn't full. So for example, my bottle of Cedrat Boisé, I've decanted out quite a bit. It's probably a little less than half full, and this, if I were to sell it, it would be considered a partial bottle. Now, you will see a lot of people selling partial bottles or selling used bottles in Facebook groups, on eBay, things like that. If you're one that only really buys at retail or only buys on discounters, you're not probably going to be too familiar with this type of thing. You aren't going to see partials at Macy's or on FragranceNet. So this is really for the people who buy, you know, on Facebook, on eBay. You'll see people selling partials. So this probably isn't the best example talking about price, because sometimes you can pick up actual full brand new bottles of some Mancera fragrances for around $50 or $60 off of FragranceNet when they run their specials. But talking about retail price, these retail brand new at $180, and if I were to sell this based off that cost as a partial, I could sell it for obviously a lot cheaper than that, right? Because it's not all the way full. So that is kind of basically what a partial is. It's just a bottle that isn't full. So buying partials is a great way to save money, especially if you have a larger collection where you don't need a full bottle. If you buy a partial of a fragrance like this, you will be fine, right? If you're going to be wearing it only a few times, you have, you know, 100 other fragrances or something like that, there's really no need to have a full bottle of every fragrance you have. So buying partials can be a great way to save money when you're building up your collection. You'll see Creed partials all the time, you know, Aventus, Millésime Imperial, so on and so forth, that may be half full, that may be 3/4 of the way full, or some that may even be down to the very end, and you can still pick it up at a cheaper price than buying new. So personally, I think buying partials is a great way to build your collection. Like I said, it's not necessary to have everything completely full, because you're probably not going to use it all and it's just going to sit there and go to waste. Now, if you don't have a large collection, if you're a person that's trying to build up a collection of maybe, you know, 5 to 7 fragrances that you're just going to wear and that's it, personally, I wouldn't recommend you buy partials. And if you do, I would obviously recommend to get a fuller one, you know, one that's on the more full side, just because you will go through those bottles quicker than someone with, you know, a lot of bottles. For example, for me, realistically, I probably only need 20 or 30 mils of each fragrance I have, because there's no way I'm gonna really finish anything that I have, because I rotate out constantly. So pretty much every bottle I buy, I will decant most of it and save myself anywhere from 20 to 40 mils, depending on how much I like it. With a few exceptions, there are a few fragrances that I really enjoy that I have, you know, multiple bottles of that I keep for myself. But for the most part, when I get a new fragrance, I'll decant most of it. I'll save myself 20 to 30 to 40 mils and just keep that, and that's plenty for me. And not only that, but if you are a person that likes bottles like myself, I am a bottle whore, I guess you could say. I like my full bottles. This is another great way, buying partials, to actually get that bottle in your collection. Whereas people who really don't care about bottles, you guys can just buy decants, you can buy samples, which by the way is very smart to do, especially when testing niche. But if you're just caring about the juice, you can buy samples, you can buy decants. Personally, for myself, I like having the bottles. I like it how it looks. Judge me, whatever, I don't care. But I do like having the bottles. So buying partials and decanting out is the way to go for me. So basically what I'm trying to get at is, if you're trying to build a decent sized collection of a couple hundred bottles or even more, definitely start looking into buying partials or decanting out your bottles and, you know, selling them off, because like I said, you're sharing that juice with people that want it, rather than you having a basically full bottle just sit in your collection all the time. That's going to go to waste. You know, if you feel bad about selling it, you're thinking, oh, well, what if I end up wearing more of it? Well, you haven't yet, right? If your bottle is sitting there on your shelf and it's full, you're probably not going to put much of a dent in it, unless again you have a smaller collection that you're rotating out. So trying to build a big collection, start looking into partials. Get yourself, you know, anywhere from a 30 to 50 mil partial, depending on the bottle size, and, you know, work your way from there. But like I said, if you're just looking to build a collection of, you know, 5 to 10 fragrances that you're going to wear often, I would just go ahead and spend the money up front to get yourself a brand new bottle or again a partial that is mostly full, so that way you'll have most of that fragrance to wear. So guys, hopefully that helps you out. This is buying partials. Again, it's a great way to save money. It's a great way to make this more affordable. People always think you have to go broke and you have to do all this crazy stuff to get bottles. Personally, you don't. You just got to be smart. You got to shop smart. I'm going to be 19 in a month, and I have what I consider a pretty decent collection of designer and niche. And just because I'm smart, I shop smart, I buy partials, I sell decants, and that's really all there is to it. It's not hard, it's not anything too crazy. So buying partials, that's all I have to say about that. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If it does, be sure to hit that like button. Also don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I post. And that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.